Awesome, bro. So we are gonna be live in about a second. I'm gonna make you host, and then you have to make me co-host.
Okay.
How are you doing these days? How's your traveling and book reading going?
Good. Good. I'm going away on a short vacation this week. I'm going to the beach.
Oh, so that is in the same town you're in?
No, I'm going to a national seashore and
Uh-huh.
staying in a nearby town. My brother-in-law owns a home by the beach, a
Mm.
small A-frame, and we're going to go there with our grandchildren for about 5 days.
Oh, so it's gonna be a week-long trip, right?
Yeah, close. I mean, we'll leave on Friday, come back on Wednesday, and I have to work a bit on Wednesday while I'm
Mm.
there. Actually,
I see.
there's an interview I'm doing with someone.
Awesome. Awesome. So we are live, and yeah, made me co-host. We are good to go. Just in about a sec, we're gonna be expecting our learners.
Thanks, Michael.
No worries. I'll start the recording. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Leslie.
Leslie is her audio just connected now. You can talk to her now.
Hi, Leslie.
Good morning, Russ.
How are you?
It's doing well. How about you?
Very good. And
Good
we
morning.
have Michael. Looks like Michael Ken and Shashila and Pat. Welcome, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Morning.
And Lily is joining. Good morning, Lily.
Good morning, Russ. Nice to see you. You lost weight?
That would be tough.
Uh, okay, maybe it's just a more form-fitting clothing.
That could be. Well, this is my Get Set Up uniform.
Get set up. Yes.
My Get Set Up, Get Up.
Yeah. Well, your athleticism is admirable. But I know you're a bicyclist as well as a hiker, and probably a lot of other things we don't know.
Well, thank you. I pride myself in that, in the fact that I was not an athlete in high school. You know, the time when it seemed to have counted.
Oh, well, good for you. It's like, yeah, I understand. It's one of those things where those who start late oftentimes, oftentimes, what is it? I'll just put it this way. It's more polite. Is it?
I was a late bloomer.
Yeah, but you bloom longer. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Well, I have a theory that if you stay very active, age doesn't matter. And the worst thing that happens is you slow down some. And I know people that became more active than they ever had been in their 60s, and they loved life. So I really advocate for that. That's why I talk a lot about walking and biking. And I'm actually going to I'm planning, haven't gotten it rolled out yet, a whole class on the importance and value of simply walking. And I'm not talking about the 10,000 steps thing, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's about, if you get out and walk 5 kilometers a day, which is 3 miles, it does all sorts of things for you that are fabulous. I like walking better than running. For one thing, I don't like to run. I hate to run. And walking walking and biking have less impact on your joints.
Right.
And a lot of people in their 60s aren't going to go running anyway. So if you tell them they need to go run, they'll say goodbye. If you tell them how good it would be for them to go walk, they'd say, "Well, I can do that." And my own father, who probably carried around 30 extra pounds that he didn't need most of his life, lost it all simply through walking.
Wow.
He walked 3 miles a day, every day for 3 months, and he lost 30 pounds. So
Uh-huh.
that was the first time I witnessed the value of walking. And I've known so many people since then who've done the exact same thing. So I would say if you're in your 60s and you'd like to be a bit more fit, start with just walking.
Hmm.
I love to
Yeah.
walk. Yeah.
That would be a great class.
Yeah, it's coming up. I'm going to do it in July. I have some time to prepare it because, I mean, long distance walks and all that kind of stuff, which I enjoy doing, are great. But my wife and I like even just walk downtown, which is about 2.5 miles to go have a meal and then walk back. So we enjoy the walk. And the other thing that happens when you walk, you see things that you don't see when you drive or even ride your bike. You notice people's houses and backyards and things going on that you just kind of zip by in a car. So
Mhm.
welcome, Peggy and Shoshila. Nice to see you. And Michael is Michael Kenny. Welcome, Michael. Hi, Detlef. Good to see you from Berlin right now.
Wow.
God, I want to get back to Berlin someday. I was there in 2014. My family had we had an exchange student from Hochenneuendorf, which is north of Berlin.
Yeah, my cousin has a little Dutch shop there, Neuendorf.
Nice little town. It was in the former East, and very delightful little place. And we came down to Berlin a couple of times to see around. One time was by train, and walked around the center around the Reichstag and what's the tour in the center?
The Brandenburg Gate.
The Brandenburg tour, yeah.
Brandenburg tour, yeah.
And I was just amazed at how when you walk through that from the former west side to the former east side, in that immediate environment, you really can't tell any difference except for that the east side looks very much modern, commercialized. What I'd like to get out into is some of the more older neighborhoods, because I understand that's what Berlin has an abundance of, and go to some museums. I'd like to go to the Käthe Kollwitz Museum or Käthe Kollwitz, maybe that's how you say her name.
Käthe Kollwitz, yeah.
Käthe
and,
Kollwitz.
Around the Brandenburg Gate, that's been a construction site for practically the last 10 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing everything that they've changed there because, ever since the government moved back to Berlin from Bonn and the reunification, all of the government buildings are down there again. So it's a great place to visit.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would enjoy spending more time there. Well, welcome everybody. Good to have Peggy, Debbie, Nancy, who've joined just in the last couple minutes, and nice to see you all this morning. You are in a class about how to use online and mobile apps to plan travel. And this class has branched out from the first time I did it. There's now a whole class just on how to use Airbnb. Then there's a whole class just on how to use your mobile phone. So I'll focus a little bit more today on some of the online sites because there's some of this crossover into using your mobile phone. Maybe I'll emphasize that a little bit less today because there's a whole class on that. But it's nice to see you all here. I was originally going to call this class something like Become Your Own Travel Agent. Then I decided not to. I'm not sure why I thought that would be a good title. But the fact is, in the past, we would have relied on travel agents or airlines or hotels to make reservations for us. Now we can do it ourselves. There's two sides of that. One side is we have to do it all. The other side is we can do it. So we can make choices. And that's what a lot of today is about. But I'm going to show you some other handy sites that you can go to if you are thinking of travel that can help you as you're planning. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me just mention we have TA, our Michael here, a TA named Michael here, and he was there to help you with any questions or problems with your technology. You also can put questions from today's class in the chat, and Michael will note them for me. I'm just noticing some comments already here in the chat. Shashila is mentioning, yes, we were discussing there at the very beginning the value of walking, and her problem is winter. You know, that is a problem for everyone, isn't it? And Leslie says that I think that's New Mexico Senior Olympics has a 5K a day walking or biking challenge. Great. Well, let me go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll get right on to this. And I'll show you some of the nifty sites you can go to plan your travel. Not sure why that is popping up, but we can get rid of that. There we go. Using online and mobile apps to plan your travel. And by the way, this class is recorded, and you know you can request a recording of this. You will also get in your follow-up email notes from this class. So if you're curious about or can't remember what some of those websites were I showed you, I'll send them to you. So you can just rest assured you won't miss anything from today's class. I'm your guide, Russ Eanes. I think I know a lot of you. I'm from Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is in the lovely Shenandoah Valley. And I did a class on the Shenandoah Valley last week. I'm going to do it again this week. I think it is Thursday afternoon. We're going to talk about the Shenandoah Valley again. So a lot of people were surprised at all the fabulous things you can do here in the Shenandoah Valley. I'm a writer, a walker, and a cyclist, and I used to be a book publisher. And in that role, I love to help authors shape their ideas into books. I am an avid traveler with 16 overseas trips and more trips to Canada than I can count. If you live in the United States, that's really not overseas anyway. I'm now a full-time guide with Get Set Up, and I love all the energy and the wisdom I collect from working with older adults. You know, in this class that we learn from each other. Ideally, we can see you and your cameras are on, and I really enjoy and appreciate and encourage interaction. So there'll be a time when we can talk and ask questions at the end during the class. Just simply put your questions in the chat. If anyone's joining by live stream, and we are live streaming today, the best way to participate is to join us and register for a class, and you get to be here live and ask your questions live. Lastly, Get Set Up's not paid to promote any specific products, so I will be mentioning specific websites in which are products today, but we're not being paid to promote any of those. Today's agenda is pretty simple. I'm going to give you some tips about online travel services for planning travel and making reservations. And we're also going to research some travel apps for the same services that are online. A few of the ones I will show you today are only on a phone, like Hopper. And again, we'll discuss more of those when we do mobile phones. Here are some of my favorite online apps for travel, and I will demonstrate these to you. We have Airbnb for lodging, Booking.com, and some of these are similar, have similar sites that you can find the same information. Orbitz. Here's one that is less known by a lot of people. That's Scott's Cheap Flights. And here's one that I'm starting to use now, and I can give you a demo on today, which is called Google Flights. And I won't show you the YouTube demo for this, but I'll give you a link to a YouTube demo, and you can see how to use Google Flights. Many of these sites are also available as apps for your phone. So I'm going to pull out of here for 1 second, and I'm going to show you some of these sites. And I will first go to Airbnb because that's one of the ones I mentioned first off.
Meanwhile, you're going to Airbnb. We got a question from Detlef, right?
Detlef.
Yeah. Just wanted to mention Scott's is running a special right now that they'll give you a 1-year upgrade for free.
An upgrade to, you mean if you join, they'll give you a year that you get their premium service?
You get the year premium service for a year. You don't have to pay for it. You can cancel after 1 year if you want. but they'll
Great.
give you 1 year premium service for free.
Great tip. Thanks, Detlef. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you all get that link. Yes, you'll get a link in your notes of Scott's Cheap Flights. So I would say, after you see what I'm going to show you today, go sign up because it's free. Normally it's $49 a year. And the guy that runs Scott's, which I admire, he's not out to do this because he wants to make a lot of money. He loves to travel and he loves to encourage people to travel. And that's why he finds cheap flights. That's all he does. I mean, basically, he does a few other things, but that's basically what he's doing. Great tip, Detlef. Thanks. We'll go to Scott's Cheap Flights in just a minute. This is Airbnb, which has its own whole class. So I won't tell you much more about it today, but it is a place where you can find everything from rooms in a house to guest apartments to also, you can also get experiences. So this is a new thing that Airbnb offers, experiences. I have used it a lot. I mostly have used it to find a room in a house or a guest apartment. It's nice because generally you can choose about how long you want to stay. If you're like, say, want to do something like vacation rental by owner, you have to, generally those are by the week, whereas Airbnb, you can stay anywhere from 1 night to, 14 nights or whatever you want to choose. When I used it last year when I traveled from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C. on bicycle. I spent 3 of my nights with Airbnb places. So great site. You'll get a link to it. It is a membership site, which means you do need to join and you need to create a profile because potential hosts need to see who you are and what you're like. And so you have to spend the time to join and create a profile. It is free to join. There's no membership cost. So it's really worthwhile, but you have to tell a bit about who you are, because that's the whole idea of this, is that people are theoretically sharing space in their home for you, though a lot of places are just dedicated Airbnb. I'm going to go to Orbitz and Booking.com, and then we're going to come to Scott's Cheap Flights, because now that Detlef has tipped us off that it's free, we're going to spend some time there because that's really worth it. Orbitz is another all-around booking site. Actually, Booking.com is as well. They've both expanded over the years. I originally just used Orbitz for flights, and then I would also sometimes book a hotel and a car through it. With Orbitz, you also sometimes can get points for making reservations, and I think they give you 1% or 2% or something like that. It's not huge, but you can, and they also can find specials for you and discounts. I have mostly used it to find flights, and even though I have frequent flyer miles on a couple of the major airlines, what I've found Orbitz helpful for is finding flights on those major airlines and comparing them at the same time, and also other airlines that might have good deals. So I'm going to just give a theoretical trip here. We'll put this one in and we'll remember this one for today. Let's say that I want to fly from Washington, D.C. That's where I am. And since Orbitz knows me, it knows that I tend to want to fly from that airport. But just to give more chances, I'm going to hit Washington, D.C., all airports, because there's also Reagan National Airport and Baltimore Washington, BWI, which fly internationally, or at least offer international links. So I'll just give all Washington airports. And a place I've been looking at going lately is Rome. So I'm going to put in there Rome. And we'll just do we'll do the international airport, and I'm going to pick a date off here in the future. Let's look at a date in late September. Let's imagine that we're going to fly out on Sunday the 12th, and we're going to return on Sunday the 26th, a 2-week trip. And here at the bottom, I hit go. Search, and it will start to search flights for me. I'll show you in a minute. There's all sorts of filters you can put in this. And I should mention that even though I use this to search flights, I tend to book flights if it's a major airline that I have frequent flyers with. I do my booking through the airline. But Orbitz also has my frequent flyer number. So if I book with Orbitz, it will forward that information to the airline and they'll know that I'm there. And I don't know why it's taken Orbitz a while to think this one through, but it's taken a while. Okay, there we go. Now, the very first thing I saw pop up at the top, this destination may have COVID-19 travel restrictions in place. So if you take some of my other travel classes, you know that we talk a lot about learn the restrictions of where you might want to go right now, because worldwide travel, even though it's opening, there are restrictions going both ways, also coming back into the US. So my flight to Rome, the cheapest one on that date is $758. And that is with Turkish Airlines. Right here is where you see the airline you're going to fly with. And it tells you that it's going to take 13 hours and 25 minutes and there's one stop. All right. I'm just scrolling down, just doing a little more comparison. For $861, I can fly with Aer Lingus. That's an interesting one. Also has one stop. That's not as long a flight. That's 11 hours and 25 minutes. I wouldn't have expected Aer Lingus. And then right now, if you want to fly with Alitalia, it's going to take you, there's a fabulous nonstop flight. Ooh, I like that one. I like nonstop flights. And also Delta is offering a nonstop flight. Hint, the Delta flight is the Alitalia flight. They co-share frequent flyers. So this is the same. You can see here 4:15 to 7 a.m. This is a good flight. I've actually taken that flight. It's a good one to take. There's also longer flights down here. I won't go show you all of them, but you can scroll through there. You can filter this different ways. For example, you could say, only show me the nonstop flights. So over here on the left, I click nonstop, and I only want to see the nonstop. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4. And it looks like they're actually all the exact same flight. Notice how it says 4:15 to 7 a.m. This one is through Alitalia, which is the actual flight you will take. This one is offered through Delta. This one is offered through Air France. And this one, again, is offered through Delta. And I'm not sure why. This must be a higher no change fees. So if you don't want to if you want to be able to change it without any fees, you can pay $9,214. I don't know why you'd want to do that. So this looks like besides you can do it with Alitalia for no change fees for $1,000. I'm not sure why they want to do this. But so if you decide you want to click on this one right here, okay, I'll take that Delta flight. You click on select, and then down here will tell you what comes with it. Oh, there's no seat choice. What? For $1,000, I can't choose my seat? You can take a carry-on bag. For cost, you can get a checked bag, and you can carry on a personal item. Well, for $1,000, well, that's not really so much, if you ask me, in my opinion. But that's anyway. We're just doing this as an academic, sort of a hypothetical exercise. But as you click on that, so if I decide, okay, that's the one I want, I click on select this fare, and now it will ask me to choose my return flight. And so again, here are more options. Here's a one with one stop. Here's the nonstop. So to come back, these two look like they're the same flight, and it's going to cost me an extra $25 to choose that one if I want to come back. And that's one thing about Orbitz. It'll first give you at the top no extra charge. In other words, what you pay when you see your first leg is what you're going to pay for round trip, so long as you choose a round trip that has no extra cost. So for no extra cost, you get this one, but that's a one-stop flight and it's 27 hours. Don't think I'd want to take that one home, but just in case I did, let's just see what that one is. That one, here's the details right here. You leave 11:30 in the morning, you go to Paris. Oh, you have a 17-hour layover in Paris. Well, maybe you want to go see the city for 17 hours. Not the worst layover. Anyway, let's say that's the one I want to select because, hey, I'm going to get out of the airport and Charles de Gaulle Airport. I'm going to scoot down into the city and look around for a little bit and then head back out and collect and get my flight. I'll select it. Ask me, do you want to select a hotel? No, I don't want to do that. And then it goes on and it will book me. And now at this point, I'm just going to show you what it looks like. And basically, I'm on Delta going over and Alitalia coming back. And then up here, there's your trip summary, how much it's going to cost. This is where you review it. And then you can continue booking it. I'm going to stop here because I don't want to accidentally book this flight. You should know, by the way, with several of the major airlines, United, Delta, American, those are the ones I just called the majors. You can cancel within 24 hours for free. I'm pretty sure that for a lot of us, I don't know why. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't know all the reasons, but making an airline reservation causes some anxiety. I think it's because when they say you see how much you're about to spend and you realize, hey, that's off in the future. What if I change my mind, or what if something comes up? What if I'm stuck with it? So that 24-hour cancellation is always a nice thing to have. And I have sometimes canceled a flight within 24 hours because something came up and I realized it wasn't going to work. So that's how you can make a reservation with Orbitz. Now, at this point, I might just go over to Delta and make the reservation. Because I would make it directly through them. I'd use a credit card I have branded with Delta, and I'd get a few extra perks and miles, so on and so forth. Any questions about what I showed you there? Go ahead. You can just unmute yourself and ask a question.
Russ, I was just curious, this isn't about the flight, but if I just made a flight to Costa Rica, and I didn't realize that I went with the lowest price and that I don't even get a carry-on bag. Is it very hard to switch that up?
What airline is that you're with?
It's with JetBlue from Fort Lauderdale.
That's a good question. I've never flown JetBlue. Call JetBlue and find out, or go on their online site and chat with them.
Okay.
They'll probably charge you. You said, well, here's a little secret, and I probably should put this in this is actually going to be a tip I'm going to add to my top 10 travel tips class. So you all get a preview of a tip that they don't even know yet. And that is that a lot of the major airlines, so I have a card with United and with Delta. I used to fly a lot for my job and also personal travel. So it was worth it for me to get those airline cards. I got extra perks and miles having it. One of the perks that come with a major airline card, and I don't know if JetBlue has them, I just don't know, but with the majors is that you get a free checked bag. Well, I found out now that Delta and United, since they are charging you to carry on a bag, in other words, it's a higher level of ticket, I found out that you can carry on a bag just like you can check a bag for free if you have their credit card. So I've now decided that it's worth keeping the credit card. I was debating in my mind whether I should keep the branded credit cards because they charge you a yearly fee. And you do get a few perks with it anyway, but I've decided that carry-on advantage alone is worth having the major card. That didn't answer your question, Peggy, so I'm sorry if I digressed. But the point, check and find out. That is one nice thing that you can see here that I do like this. And honestly, it bothers me. The major airlines didn't used to do this. They're now nickel and diming you for everything like the cut rates are. But the reason they're doing it is they're trying to compete with the cut rate airlines. But some of those cut rate airlines didn't survive the pandemic. Some of the major airlines did. So just check with JetBlue, Peggy. And if you have a chance, you'll get my email at the end. I'd be curious. Email me and let me know what happened. I'd like to know that. I'm going to check the chat here real quick.
Russ?
Yeah.
Yes.
Russ, this is Nancy. I recently booked a flight to Hawaii, and I don't have airline credit cards, but it's United, the Mileage Plus program, and I was able to get the free bag. So I don't have a credit card, but the Mileage Plus programs work with that too.
Okay, so you have, just because you have a mileage, a number with them, they gave you the free check bag.
Yeah.
Or they're very good. That's good to know. I was just pleased to know that I could do the carry-on, because if you know, I do a whole class on carrying a carry-on bag. I don't like to check bags if I can avoid it. Now, sometimes I can't avoid it.
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean that. It was a free carry-on.
Okay. Well,
'Cause
that's
there's
good.
no way I'm checking.
Well, and that might be because it's to Hawaii.
Maybe.
It could be that they're not going to, but look here, this flight to France, to Rome, they're not going to, they're going to charge you to carry on. I'm like, what? Anyway, we'll
Russ, we got a question from Sushila.
yes, Shashila.
So she's asking, how was your experience with Airbnb?
My experience with Airbnb has been very good, excellent, and there's a whole class on that. I don't think the Airbnb class is running this week, but it'll be running, if not next week, the week after. Please come and join us. I can recommend Airbnb, and I've only had good experiences with them. The prices aren't as cheap as they used to be, but that might be true for a lot of things these days. But I can highly recommend Airbnb. It's worth joining and creating a profile and starting to use it. I've been using Airbnb for about 7 or 8 years.
I guess my question more was, what did you mean by saying experience when you register with Airbnb?
I'm sorry. What did I mean about what?
When you register with Airbnb, you mentioned something about an experience. Did I?
Oh, I understand what you're asking, Shashila. They offer these things that are experiences down here. So like they'll take you horseback riding. You can go hawking and learn how to fly, how they hunt with hawks. You can do paddle trips, all sorts of things that are kind of fun. Sorry, that's a very good question. This is relatively new. I've not done any of the Airbnb experiences, but I've started to think that maybe I should offer an Airbnb experience. I'll click on this one right here. Online. These are online experiences. That's not much. We can do that anywhere. Let's do the outdoor collection. So for example, you can do a Cape Hatteras kayaking adventure from $55 a person. Not bad. You can go kayaking the beautiful Powell River. I'm not sure where that is, but that's only $25 a person. You can safely kayak on the Cayuga Seneca Canal. And I think I know where that is, up in the upper state of New York, $70, not bad. You don't have to haul your canoe there. You can learn to surf on the Outer Banks from $79 a person. Well, that's pretty good. I mean, these are people that are offering their services. You can, you can go to a farm with goats. You can go a West Virginia farm history tour. These are kind of tours you can do, or lessons you can learn in things and various things. Hot air balloon, $350 a person in Michigan. Whoa. I'm not sure I'd do it. I'm afraid of heights, at least when I'm out in the open. But those are what the experiences are, Shashila.
Thanks. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is. Airbnb is worth signing up for. I've never had a bad experience. I've had just better experiences than others with them, and in lodging. I haven't done any of the experiences. I'm going to show you Booking.com because this is my preferred booking site. I don't know that it's better than any others. I've just been using it for a long time. They know me, I know them, and I tend to use Booking.com. They now do flights and car rentals and attractions and things. So it's similar. These sites all kind of compete with each other, and you'll find often the same thing cross-listed along all these sites. But I like to use Booking.com for lodging, and I've done it in the US, I've done it abroad. And when I was in Italy in 2019, I booked all my lodging through Booking.com. My wife and I were there for 2 weeks. I think over 2 weeks, we stayed in about 10 different places, and everything from little guest apartments to hotels, and all of it was done through Booking.com. So I'm just going to show you an opportunity, how to make a reservation. So I'm going to match this up with the same period of time. Imagine going to Spoleto, which is in Umbria, Italy, actually a place I want to go back to. And remember, we were choosing that date in September the 12th through the 26th. So it's going to be an overnight flight. So my first night there would be the 13th. Let's imagine I just want to stay in there. I want to stay there for 1 week. So the 13th to the 20th, Spoleto. And I click on search. And it will think a second. And then it will pop up all sorts of places. And it will tell me how much it costs to stay there for a week. So some of these are guest apartments, and some of them might be. This is a Hotel Charleston, so you can know that's a hotel. $679.
What's your opinion or experience with Expedia?
I'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay.
And I've actually stayed at this place, Residenza du Mondi. I've stayed there. That was a very good place. It's probably why it popped up at the top of my list. But these are all different kinds of options, and you can look at them and you can sort them by price. You can filter out places like if you only want a place with free cancellation, which I like. And if you want a breakfast included, you may want to click that. If you're looking for a place with a swimming pool, you can click that. I like kitchen amenities because my wife and I would be wanting to cook our meals while we're there. So the places that are popping up now only have kitchens. Okay, so and if I want to sort them by price, lowest price first, I click there and I now see the Spoleto Casa Vacanza is now the lowest at $336 1 week for 2 adults, entire apartment, 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, 1 bathroom. I know it's got a kitchen because I searched, put that filter in there. And so what's nice about booking.com is, let's say if we click on this place right here, I drill into that. There's lots of photos I can see. So I can see what the place looks like inside and outside. And I kind of scroll through my photos. It's a nice looking place, in my opinion. A nice little kitchenette. And it's got 2 bedrooms. And one of the bedrooms has a bunk bed. There's a living room. Looks pretty good. I wonder where in the city it is. So I click over here, show on map. And now it is this place right here with a big blue dot. And so I scroll into there and I discover, oh, that's not in Spoleto. That's outside the city. Where is Spoleto? Spoleto's over here. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to stay there. That's too far away. Well, let me show you what I could have done. I could have gone back here to these sorts, and I could have said, I want to filter it not by price. I want to filter it by distance from the center of the city, which is actually something I often do. So off here in the price, in these little box on the top right, distance from downtown, that might be what I want. So I'm like, you know what? I want to look at the distance right now. And now tell me, okay, these places, you can see how close they are to the center of downtown. It says right here, 0.1 mile from center. Well, that's pretty darn close to the center. So this is a way you can use booking.com. I like that thing about how far away it is, because if I'm going to be exploring the center of the city and the cheapest place turns out that it's several miles away, that may not be such a good deal. Someone asked, what is my experience with Expedia? Expedia is similar to booking.com and Orbitz. A lot of them do the same types of reservations. I think I've used Expedia a bit in the past. I personally have tended to settle into just a couple of these sites, booking.com and Orbitz. I don't actually use Orbitz much anymore because I just use it to find comparative airline prices. So I've done most of my lodging through booking.com in recent years, and I've gotten discounts because I've used it so much and I trust it. A lot of the places I like to stay to reserve on booking.com, notice it's got free cancellation. I really, really like that feature. Now there is a boundary to that. In other words, if you cancel within a certain number of days, you can't get it all back. But this allows me the flexibility. So like right now, let's imagine I'm planning this trip. Don't like the airline prices today, but I'm going to keep on waiting until the airline flight cost comes down to where I want it. I could go ahead and book this place now and not worry about it because, hey, I can cancel it. So I really like that.
What is the Genius designation for the sites on booking.com? There's a question from Nancy.
Yes, very good question. I've used booking.com enough that booking.com has called me a genius. It just means I get a 10 or 15% discount. That's all. And besides the fact that they call me a genius, isn't that nice? But really, I've just used it enough. And I should say one other reason I like booking.com is that the app on your phone is very, very user-friendly. And I'll show you that in a minute. I just want to pop from here and I want to go over and show you, I want to go show you Scott's Cheap Flights. But are there any more questions about booking.com? Again, I like it because I'm very familiar with it. I can quickly find all sorts of things from guest apartments to sometimes I've even found rooms in a house to a whole house to a hotel. And so booking.com gathers all those together. And they especially specialize in free cancellations. Takes anxiety off of your trip. Again, you'll get a link to booking.com. You create a login and they keep your credit card. But again, I like it because they don't charge you until you actually stay there, and they give free cancellation pretty close to the actual reservation, like maybe just a couple days away. Now, let me show you something here that I really like. I'm going to show you Scott's Cheap Flight, and I really appreciate Detlef's tip that it's free right now.
Hey, could I make one little comment before you go to Scott's?
Sure, Nancy.
Be careful when you get onto booking.com. I am thinking about possibly going to Amsterdam sometime in the future. So I thought, well, I'll just see what kind of rooms are out there. 2 hours later, I mean, you can get wrapped up in this, so just be prepared. It's so much fun. That's
2 hours later, you started getting notifications of options, right?
Well, no, I just went through everything.
You spent 2 hours. I got you, Nancy. Yes.
And you can click on the little heart, and then it'll let you save a list of things that you liked, and you can come back and check them out further without booking yet.
Good point. And I didn't show you all that. You can make something a favorite and save it. And that way, when you go back and search again later, you can search your favorites and then you won't lose it. Yes, Nancy, that's a very good point. You can get lost in booking.com. As I said, this is what the travel agents used to do for you. Now you do it yourself, and you can spend all day at it if you like. Okay. Let's go to Scott's Cheap Flights. And I'm a member, so let's see, how do I log in here? Oh, I'm logged in because it says down here log out, and I have a profile which I won't bother showing you. But see flight alerts. What Scott's Cheap Flights is basically is not so much the website, it is their daily email alerts you get. I get an email from Scott's Cheap Flights now that I'm a member, and it costs $49 a year. I get an email from them every day with flight deals they found. They fly. What do they find that's so cheap? They find what are called mistake fares. A mistake fare might be that a flight to Rome was $630, and someone accidentally put it in the system for $63, and it's there. And airlines honor those, believe it or not. Someone missed a digit. You're not likely to find that one. I think they're pretty careful about their trips to Rome. But if an airline is just having trouble getting people to book flights, like to Bermuda, or not Bermuda, the Bahamas, or to Hawaii, or to Morocco, or anywhere, they will just suddenly drop the price on a flight. And you'll get that every day in an email from Scott's. And maybe you've got a place you're really keen to go to, and you know, maybe that's not going to be so useful to you. But for a lot of people, they might have 10, 15, 20 places on their bucket list. Yeah, I could go there. And, or maybe the place you haven't even thought of. Peggy's going to Costa Rica. I'd actually like to go to Costa Rica someday. So it's not my top of my list, but it's a wonderful place. And what the heck, if I saw something in Scott's that said cheap, you know, $200 a Costa Rica round trip, I might jump on that and say, I think I'm just going to go there. And I know people who do that. They basically travel. They've got the world is their oyster. They want to travel all over the world. And the person who turned me on to Scott's Cheap Flight is someone who does that. And they will just fly for deals when they see them. So right now on their website, this is what they show, that you can go to Florida from anywhere in the 90s to hundreds of dollars. That's not very much. You can go to the Maldives for $600 to $700, the Gulf Coast, $90 to $100. This was on my email message this morning, travel to the Gulf Coast, telling me alerts. You can go down there pretty cheap. Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Finger Lakes, $90. That is, in Lake Cayuga. I think I've forgotten the name of that waterfall. I was there as a kid. You can go to the Caribbean for the 200s. You can go to Norway to 400 to 500s. Hey, that looks like a good one right there. I'm going to click on that out of curiosity. So you click on it when you're on the website, and it will show you the round trip prices from to Oslo. These are the round trip prices right here. If you go from Boston, it's $529, Chicago's $546, so on and so forth. And to Oslo from Washington, D.C. is $537. And I can't remember why they have that not round trip. But anyway, that's my airport, IAD. That's Dulles International Airport, $537. That might be worth doing. So that's a good one. So that just shows you where they're flying from, because you might not be anywhere near one of those airports. But then over here, it shows you that they can get tickets as little as $407. Okay, it looks like that's from JFK in New York. That's what I see over here. The regular cost is $800 round trip. So that's like a half price deal. They say, we think these fares will last 1 to 2 days. So they're basically saying, jump on it. And then there's a whole thing about coronavirus resource page. And I will be honest that I'm not advocating anybody necessarily travel right now as the pandemic unwinds. It's still an open question about travel, even though places in Europe are opening up. There's some uncertainty. Things could close down. Who knows what could happen between now and then. But maybe this is something you'll use next year. Maybe you use it next week. It's kind of up to you. But it says here, use this sample search to explore availability and fares on Google Flights. Okay. So actually, I'm going to now show you how to do Google Flights, because I like Google Flights. But let's back up 1 second. Again, Scott's Cheap Flights, if you sign up and join, it costs $49 a year. And they will send you these daily emails, and you'll get cheap flight notifications, domestic and international. Now, there seems to be some uncertainty about whether it's free or not. Detlef gave us a notification. It's free. Someone else said they tried to go there, and it was 25% off.
I signed up with a free at that level, got an email from them a week later, 2 weeks later. This must have been about 3 months ago, saying, hey, we're upgrading everybody. You want to be upgraded? Doesn't cost you anything. I said, you betcha.
So that was, you were on the regular list, and then
Yep.
they gave you the option to choose, the premium for free. Well, that's the one thing I didn't mention about Scott's. You can just join for free, and you get some information. Do they email you every day, Scott, Detlef, if you're on the free?
No, on the free, they don't every day.
Okay.
And you don't get those mistake fares. Those go to the paid clients, because some of those can just be crazy.
Exactly
50
right.
bucks from Denver to Rome or something like that.
Exactly.
And those go to the people that pay. But I did find a year ago, some low cost flights from Berlin to Denver that I wasn't finding anywhere else. I mean, it was a couple of $100 lower than anybody else. And now with being able to travel again, I just got my second shot here this last week. So I'll be able to travel again in the next month or so. I thought, well, it'd be worthwhile, and I probably would have signed up with the normal price for them, because I'm retired. They say, hey, listen, if you can go next week, you can go to the Maldives for $480. 1 week, villa right on the beach. You want to go? Yeah, you bet. So but they do have some fantastic deals that I've seen.
They really do. And I would say it's worth it if you think you'll take one trip a year, because they'll probably find you a flight that will save you more than the cost.
More than what you pay, yeah.
And also, they also give you lots of ideas that you may have not thought about before, which is what I also like about Scott's. So thanks for that update. So I should remind you, you can all go to that site today and you can join for free. You'll get the occasional emails. You won't get the daily email. You'll get some access to their site. They have lots of other information that you can. I'm not even going to show you all that advice on travelers for travel. I'm going to take you real quick here to how to use Google Flights. And the time is getting short, and there's just so much I wish I could show you. But Google Flights is kind of a nice thing. I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna put in here that I want to travel from Washington Dulles. Okay, Washington Dulles Airport, and I want to go to, let's put in that Rome flight again, Rome, Italy. There's that airport. And I'm going to again put in the dates here. We're going to back up to September, and let's choose that 12th right there. And let's come back the 26th. And I came into Google a slightly different way. And so normally they would show you all the flight prices. Let's see if they do that. They usually show you the different flights costs per day under here. And I'm going to click on done. And if I just put in that itinerary, I now see that the cheapest flight is with the Portuguese airline, TAP, and that is 721. There's one I've never even heard of, Royal Air Morocco. No, Maroc. I've never even heard of that. Anybody know that airline? MAROC. There's one I've never heard of.
Maroc is the name of Morocco in their own language.
Ah, thanks. I was wondering about that. Here's that Alitalia flight for 1,034, the matching Delta flight. Anyway, they will Google Flights will do this for you. What I found, and why I'm curious why I didn't see it before, is typically when you put in flights in Google, it will populate down here, and it looks like it's not. Oh, there they are. Now they're populating. See how it's populating the round trip flights here? So if I go, this is a flight. This is this Washington to Oslo flight, which I'm not sure why you'd want to go in November. It's been pretty dark there, but you can see that you can go there for 500. And if you start on the 8th, it's 1,000. But if you go on the 15th, it's 520. If we sat here long enough, it would start to populate all the. Now let's get it again. 15th.
You know, Russ, one thing that I found with being able to use this is that sometimes just moving by one day can make a big difference. Flying from Monday to Monday or flying from Wednesday to Wednesday.
Exactly. It does make a big difference. Well, look right here. There's a difference in a week. The 18th to the 25th is basically $500, which is worth it. I haven't got enough time to show you all this today, but Google Flights. Let me show you how to get there, though. If you have a Gmail account, which is a Google account, you have an account with Google. They have a Google Travel app. So you go to this is my Gmail account. See right here, and up this little set of dots up here, the 9 dots get set up. We call that's the waffle. And you scroll down through all the apps, and these all come with your Gmail or Google account online, wherever you're using it. Or you can also download these separate apps on your phone. There's one called Travel. You click on it, and it will then take you into all sorts of travel things. Again, things to do, flights, hotels, and that's how you can get into Google Flights right here. And that's where it will show you that kind of grid I was showing you before of flights and costs on a certain day. So if you have a Gmail account, you have a Google account, and when you have a Google account, you have access to that app. So again, it can keep all that information. It knows who you are. I've only started using Google Flights more recently. I became aware of it probably a year or two ago, but it wasn't flying in 2020, so I never used it. And now that I've been looking for flights again, I've been using it quite a bit. It's a good way to search. One thing to remember, that a lot of these flight aggregator sites, and Google Flights is an aggregator, Hopper, one of the ones that I tell you about, and how to use your mobile phone for travel. These flight aggregator sites don't have all of the airlines. So someone before mentioned JetBlue. I don't think JetBlue necessarily aggregates their flights on here. Southwest does not in the US. So if you want a good domestic airline, I recommend Southwest Airlines, but you won't find their flight prices comparing on here. You have to go to Southwest to look. Some of the other airlines, I think perhaps possibly Frontier or Alaska may also not. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. They don't fly everywhere, so I haven't had a chance to dig into it. But not all the airlines get their flight data aggregated like this. Before we go, I'm going to show you one thing real quick. And if you come back to my using your mobile phone for planning trip, I'll show you this app. This is my favorite airline app, and it's free and it's only an app. It is not available online. You can't use it online. Okay, put that down. I'm going to show you Hopper. So I have a folder full of apps right here, and you can get this app on your phone. It's free. I'm pretty sure it's Android and Apple. Hopper is a great little thing for your mobile phone because Hopper will, you can put in a reservation target. Like I'd like to go this date and come back this date, and I want to go to this place. And Hopper will keep track of those flights for you. So you can see in here, I've also got that almost identical Washington, D.C. to Rome flight right here. Okay. And it's telling me right now to buy. In other words, it's saying, whatever the price is out there, you're not going to get a better price on. So let's check what the price is. And so when you select on it, the bunny starts hopping and he goes and finds the information. And then when he gets it, he'll stop hopping. He's taken a while to hop. This happens sometimes. I'm actually going to stop that because there it is, $529 per passenger. Whoa, that's really good. Well, I wonder what that is. Well, down below here, it says price prediction. Until June 16th, prices will vary over the next 2 days. That's not very far in the future, but you likely won't see a lower price. And then it tells me they're going to rise about $60 after June 17th. Up to August 22nd, they'll go up $302. That's not very good. So what do I want? Well, I click down here below on flights, and now I can see, TAP has that cheap flight right there, which leaves at $9.55, gets in the next day at $4.45. And you can drill into the details and you can find more information about it. Hopper is free app. Once you have an account with them, it knows who you are in the app. It will send you notifications. And in the past, I have sometimes made flight reservations because Hopper alerted me that there was a good flight. And back in 2016, actually, my wife and I went to England for 3 weeks, and we were up in Scotland half the time. And we put in the dates we wanted to travel in Hopper. And suddenly one day, bing, it said, there's a great price on a flight right now, $500. This was like 6 months before or 5 months before we were going to travel. Saw the price, bought it right away. So I really can recommend Hopper. And it will keep track of all these flights you have in there. You see, I've got one in October for Portland, Maine. It'll tell me. And this right here says wait. In other words, where it says wait, that means right now is not the time to necessarily buy that flight. So that's all the time I have to show you today. This has been a fun class, and come back for the class on how to use your mobile phone. I'll show you a little bit more about Hopper, but also some other apps I use for planning travel. I should say, by the way, Booking.com and Orbitz, Expedia, Priceline, I'm not sure about Priceline. A lot of those all have apps for your phone, and the Booking.com app is a very good app, the one that on your phone. And so I like that, and it will keep track of your reservations while you're traveling, so you don't have to have your laptop with you. Let me just check at the end here for any more questions. Well, let me just ask before we close, any more questions from anybody?
Well, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment about future classes. You've got so many cool apps on your phone. Are you going to do, maybe I misunderstood you, are you going to do a class on just the apps that you use and what you've got on your phone?
On all my apps? No.
But well, not all your apps, but
I could show you. I will say one thing. I learned a lesson a few years ago. All of my apps are only on 2 screens of my phone. My wife and I have the same number of apps, but you have to scroll through about 5 screens to find hers. This isn't I'm not dissing my wife. She knows where to find them. That would drive me nuts. I have them all on just two pages, and I have them in folders. And folders are really easy. All you do is drag one app on top of another, and and Apple at least will automatically create a folder for you, and you can name it. Mine are also the two screens. One screen are the priority ones. The next screens are the second priority, and they're all alphabetized. So if I'm looking for something, I know where to find it. And I put all my travel apps in one folder, including Starbucks, because I only go to Starbucks when I travel. And you can put Panera Bread, or this is sounding very American. Again, the places that you might be looking for when you're traveling. But you've been a great group. I want to encourage you to come back this afternoon. I'm doing a class called Traveling Overseas on a Budget. We'll talk about some more of this stuff, about how some of these sites can save you money and how you can use them to save money. So if some of you come back to my class this afternoon, I'll show you how to create folders. I'll give you a bonus in that class if you come back. I mean, I can do it on another class. That's at 4:30, Traveling Overseas on a Budget. Tonight at 7:30, we have a class on Bulgaria. We have another learner, Daniela Nacheva, who's going to tell us all about Bulgaria. She's from there, and it's a place you can travel to right now as an American. Actually, using your mobile phone class is tomorrow morning at 11 Eastern time. So if you want to come back to that class, I'm going to make a note to myself to show everyone how to make folders on that class real early on, because I do everything, a demo on my phone. Well, thanks everyone. You were a great group, and please keep coming back to travel classes. I got all sorts of stuff for you, and this has been a lot of fun. You all have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you very much.